Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gizmo is finally out, and y'all know what I have to do. I have to drop the how to play video. Like, I have to do this every single time for every new character, and I have to drop this mad early. So look, Gizmo's out. I'm about to unlock him right now. Obviously, unlock with my character ticket. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. I have to show y'all the best way to play him on this game. I want to show you how to play him and everything. But look, before we get into that, drop a like on the vid and subscribe to the channel. I'm pretty sure if y'all want to buy him for coins and everything, it's only like 2,000. But look, let's get right into this. Alright, y'all, so listen, bro. Gizmo is finally in the game. Clearly, I already said that. But look, I have went over Gizmo's moves entirely. Now, I'm not going to say that he's a bad character. Clearly, that's not true. But almost all of his moves are kind of like Morty, to the point where you basically have to combo up. Like, if you have your popcorn, you have to put it together with your music to, like, actually do some type of knockback damage. If y'all could, like, fully understand, because his character has really no knockback damage on any of his moves, to be honest. Like, if you was to put, like, any of his, like, if you was to put someone at 100 damage, bro, most of his moves still won't have no knockback. Like seriously. Besides, like, the bow and arrow, like, when you fully charge it, it has a nice amount of knockback, but it's nothing crazy. But look, I'm gonna get into all that later, but right now I'm gonna just show y'all how to play Gizmo. Now look, when it comes down to playing Gizmo, bro, his move set is really simple. I'm gonna give y'all tips here and there throughout the video, so don't even worry about that. First thing is his regular on ground attacks. I'm gonna get into his specials a little bit later. His regular 3-hit combo goes exactly like this: bow, bam, bow. It's pretty solid. Sometimes if you go too fast, you probably will miss, because normally before, since the hitbox update wasn't updated, it was like really wobbly. You could hit people when they're like behind you. Now the hitbox is like way more accurate to the player. So yeah, that's how you do his 3-hit string. It's pretty simple, nothing too crazy, not really any knockback on that, but some people will, you know what I'm saying, learn how to do stuff with that. Now his next move, which is pretty fire, is his down keyboard, which spawns in music to do the music debuff, basically silencing your opponent. Once you get a full 8 on them, it will silence them, and they won't be able to use any of their cooldown moves or anything like that. So that's pretty fire for a short duration. It's pretty fire. Make sure you're using that correctly. It's actually fire. This, you can put this in with y'all moves. Like, y'all can add this little move into y'all combos. Really crazy. I'm telling y'all, it's fire. When I'm fully crazy on this character, I'm gonna show y'all everything about it. But look, next move on his character, his basic attacks and everything, is his popcorn. Now, off rip, the popcorn won't seem like it's anything crazy. You can hit it around and stuff like that. It doesn't seem like anything crazy, but you can do some crazy things with the popcorn if you set it up correctly. Similar to Morty with his grenades, but I think the popcorn is a teeny bit better, because you could add the arrow in if you want to, or with the popcorn you could add music, which is pretty fire. As long as you're doing music next to the popcorn, it'll all come together. You could shoot it and then bam, does a crazy amount of damage. Now obviously some people are not going to let you do that, but it's still pretty fire. I just wanted to explain that to y'all about the popcorn. It's pretty fire. Next move on his attack list I want to talk about is his in-air hits. I already went through almost everything. Wait, no. Next move on his character that I want to talk to y'all about is his bow and arrow, which is basically his best move on his skill set, in my opinion. And it's his basically his neutral attack. You can charge it up, ignite opponents. It's pretty fire, pretty clean. You can do this with a lot of different things. You can set up. Wait, hold on. You can shoot the you can shoot the music notes with the arrow. You can shoot the popcorn at people. You can pair it together. It's like a lot of things that this little arrow can do. The potential of this arrow is actually immaculate. Just to do this, all you want to do is just click the neutral attack button. It's pretty simple. Click square. Now, one thing I want y'all to know is If y'all shoot the arrow regular, it's basically no knockback at all. But if you hold it, you charge it up, 1, it turns on fire, and 2, it does a little decent amount of, well, just about the same knockback damage, but it turns on fire. Now, if you don't want to shoot the arrow and you don't think you have a clean shot, all you have to do is click dodge, and if y'all look closely, you still have that arrow. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, you could be mid combo, and then bam, you shoot them and now they're on fire. I think a lot of people is going to be edging towards that because, in my opinion, doing like that is way better on his character. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but it makes more sense to do it that way anyway. So yeah, that's pretty fire. I need y'all to know that. Pretty fire. But look, let's get into his aerial basic attacks. Now, with his regular and air attacks, it's pretty fire. He can basically stomp people out, which is kind of cool, but it's not like any real knockback damage towards this. Even if you like hold it, there's like no real knockback damage to this. So it's better if you just tap it, in my opinion, if y'all get what I'm saying. All you want to do is click down and square, down air, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty simple. Nothing too crazy. It does a nice little amount of damage. Nothing too crazy. Like 5, nothing crazy. Not that good. But yeah. His next in-air attack is his side air, which is pretty useful in my opinion to set up a lot of combos and stuff. So all you want to do is while you're in the sky, while you're in the air, obviously just click over and square. Pretty useful. It doesn't really have any knockback on it, but it's still a solid move in general. It can set up for some clean combos. Just want y'all to know that. All you want to do is click over and square, whatever you have your attack button set to. Next move in the air is this little, I guess you can say, dodge swipe almost. I don't know. It's pretty fire. It doesn't do any crazy damage, but it's still like a solid move. To do this move, all you want to do is while you're in the air, just click up and square or up and attack, whatever your attack button is, and it's just that simple. And also, while you're in the air, you can still use his bow and arrow and move it and aim it however you want to. Pretty fire. Do this to, you know, set up some damage on people. It's pretty clean. You do it in the air and on the ground, doesn't really matter. Which I think, in my opinion, is GIZMO's best move, because this can set up a lot of combos. That's what is neutral in their attack. Now, real quick, before we get into his specials, I want to explain his signature perks and how they work. In my opinion, either bounce, boom, or rhythms gonna get ya is probably the best perk. This one's cool too, but like if you're mainly a 1v1 player, this is basically useless. Let's start with rhythms gonna get you. This is pretty fire. What it basically does is, if you read it, it says if GIZMO fully stacks music on an enemy, instead of silencing them, he will cause them to dance. So when you obviously fully silence an enemy, which now it takes 12 compared to 8, which it used to be, now they're dancing, or they just stand still, which is pretty fire. It's basically stunning them, but it's still cool at the same time. In return, you stun an enemy and have them to stop moving. But I don't really think that this perk is that good, in my opinion. Obviously, everyone has different opinions. I just think that bounce, boom makes more sense, in my opinion. Basically, though, with his other perk, bounce, boom, it clearly says GIZMO's down air special can bounce off his popcorn and his toy car to detonate them instantly. So if you have your car out clearly and you jump out of it, if you use your down special, it'll detonate, doing way more damage. And also, if you throw up your popcorn and you do your down special, it'll detonate the popcorn, doing a lot more damage. In my opinion, I think that this perk is pretty fire, especially if you're just throwing up popcorn at random. You don't have no time to, you know, fully set up your music and arrows correctly. If you could just bounce on the popcorn, it'll be a lot better, in my opinion. Makes it for a lot more fun on this game, in my opinion. So I think that's the best one. Now, real quick, I just want to pop in here and say, not only can you know what I'm saying, basically, I'm pretty sure increase your dodge window on your teammate's abilities, which that 3 over your head is. You can also latch on to your teammate if you click up in special, and it's pretty simple. Now, with this move, if your teammates take a little bit of damage, you do take some of that damage. Now, obviously, they can't hit you in this state, even if they try to touch you. If they hit your teammate, you do take damage. It's pretty fire in twos, but if you're like a 1v1 player or free-for-all, I wouldn't recommend y'all use that perk. Now, for his first special, clearly everyone knows about this special. This special can do 2 to 3 things. If you just use it regular, obviously it goes across the floor and it hits people. I'm pretty sure the farther you drive, the more damage it does, but obviously the closer you are, it does less damage. And then sometimes if you drive a little bit farther, it does way more damage. I just need people to understand that fully. Now, one thing about this, if you click the special button to get again and you hold it, you now basically can wheelie the car, which is pretty fire, and it does a nice solid amount of damage. It's nothing too crazy, and you can also basically jump the car into the sky, which is pretty fire. You can bounce on it if you have the bounce boom perk on, and it's pretty fire in my opinion. That's his normal special and everything like that. So yeah, now look, listen y'all, with his next special, on his next on ground special, a lot of people don't know about this. They just look at it and go, okay, this does nothing. But I'm telling y'all, if y'all go into this little down special mode, basically this blocks out any incoming projectile. It doesn't really matter what it is, all incoming projectiles is stopped. So if you're playing against a toxic Bugs Bunny, you can literally stop his rocket or his safe from hitting you or any other projectile in the game just by clicking down the special. This is probably one of his best moves on his character. Super underrated in my opinion. So yeah, all you want to do for this move is click down and special, and you block any incoming projectiles. And projectile users in this game is highly like crazy. Like it's high in this game. So yeah, to do this move, just click down and triangle or down and special on your account. Now his next special is pretty solid in my opinion. Probably one of his best killing moves other than his in-air special. But what this does is, doesn't really matter if your opponent's in the air, as long as you click up in triangle or up in special, you latch onto your opponent and you bounce off of them. It's pretty clean, nothing too crazy, but it's still fire. It's like no, almost all of his moves for some reason basically have no knockback besides like his bow, but it still does a nice clean amount of damage. And this move can be used especially if they're higher in the sky and they're on like a high amount of damage. I'm gonna set Shaggy to 125 and bam, it does a nice amount of knockback, but it's just like nothing crazy. See what I'm talking about? Like it's like nothing crazy. Like he doesn't really have too much knockback on this move, but it's still fire in my opinion. This little move right here can still do some wonders, to be honest. Especially if you line them up correctly. Can go crazy, I can't lie. So yeah, his moves may not have too much knockback on him, but in my opinion, obviously he's a support character. He's not going to do insanely good in a 1v1, but I'm pretty sure in the 2v2, if you combo him with the right characters, his moves will go insane. As a 1v1 character, I don't think he's that good, to be honest. Now, one of his most underrated moves also on his character is his in-air special, side air special, whatever y'all want to call it, in-air, side air special, whatever y'all want to call it, this right here. Now, not only can you recover onto the map with his umbrella, but it does a nice amount of damage when you hit someone in the air with it. It's nothing too crazy, but it does a nice amount of damage. This move is really useful, especially if you're off the side of the map and you just want to hit someone and go in for the hit, but you don't want to die or nothing. It does a nice amount of damage. So yeah, that's what that move is basically used for. And also, I forgot to say this a little bit earlier, his in-air down special, his in-air down attack is really used for edge guarding. Like it's really good to use for edge guarding in my opinion. And his last special on his character is obviously his ground slam, or whatever you want to call it. This move can really help, especially if y'all have popcorn all set up. Y'all just want to explode and everything, or if you have your car out, and y'all don't want to use it no more, and you just want to explode it, bam, boom, bow. You have to have this perk on to do it though, because if you don't, it don't work. So yeah, in my opinion, his character is a W. It's nothing too crazy, but that is how you play GIZMO. There's not really too much I can go over on this character, but that is how you play GIZMO.